just gotta put this through here, and if I remember rightly, this bit in here, pull that together, insert into there, no, wrong, insert into, nope, that's the right hole, pull into there, insert into this bit, do a cross on that side, and directly next to, oh hi, give me 2 secs. There. What do you think? Can you guess what it is? Probably be able to show you later. I started cross stitching again. It's been a while since I did my first cross stitch. I remember the first time I did it. I was so scared I'd make a mistake. It was a cute little cat too. Do you know, I was so nervous I actually did it wrong. I got the cheek wrong. Got one cheek slightly more swollen than the other. But you know what? That cat still looks cute. I suppose that's the secret, really. You never know you can do something unless you try. But as you try it, you get to realise the mistakes and you learn from them. I think a celebrity said that once. A celebrity once said that he was unhappy with the way that he was cooking, basically because he never made a mistake. He succeeded on the first try. And alright, succeeded on the first try is great, but the way to learn is to always make mistakes. Because the more mistakes you make, the more you start practicing. And the more you practice, the more you learn. I think the fairies will one day learn that in this story today. After all, they've only had Princess Aurora for one day. It must not be easy to learn how to cook when you've relied on magic for a long period of time. But I'm pretty sure the fairies did a good job. But I wonder what their experience was like on, say, the first day they started cooking, for example. I bet it was a nerve-wracking experience. Shall we find out? Today's story is a Sleeping Beauty story, and it's called Chaos in the Kitchen. Now, dearie, said Flora to little Aurora. It's time for your nap. Flora had just given the baby her bottle and settled her in her cradle. Time to make supper, Flora said to Florna and Merryweather, turning away from the snoozing baby princess and clapping her hands together purposefully. The three fairies gave each other uneasy grins. It was the first meal they had to prepare in the little cottage in the woods, where they would live until Aurora's 16th birthday. In order to keep Aurora well hidden, the three fairies had vowed to give up their magic wands and live as ordinary humans. But none of them had ever cooked, cleaned or cared for a baby before. This was going to be quite an adventure. I shall cook a stew, said Merryweather. The others thought that was a wonderful idea. Stew sounded hearty and delicious. What a cosy meal for their first night in the cottage. I'll bake some blueberry biscuits and mash the potatoes, said Flora. Are you sure you know how? Asked Fauna. How hard can it be? Said Flora. Fauna, why don't you make a salad to go with Merryweather's stew? Well, I'll try, said Fauna brightly. Soon Merryweather was chopping the meat and vegetables, Flora was mixing flour and water, and Fauna was slicing and dicing the salad vegetables. An hour later, dinner was still not ready. Merryweather's stew smelled like old boots. Flora's opened the oven and pulled out her biscuits, which were as flat as pancakes. The mashed potatoes were terribly lumpy. And somehow, most of the salad greens had ended up on the floor. The three fairies looked at one another in dismay. Back to the drawing boards, girls, said Flora. But let's not be too hard on ourselves. After all, we've got 16 years to learn how to cook without magic. And that's how long it's gonna take, replied Fauna. Merryweather laughed. Flora was obviously joking. Wasn't she? Well, we certainly know that they certainly didn't learn how to bake a cake by the time she was 16 years old. And probably didn't quite understand how things like making dresses or cleaning the house. Still, they did quite well, considering the biscuits turned out to be flat as pancakes. Although saying that, there's a type of biscuit where the flat as a pancake is actually quite tasty. Maybe she invented that biscuit. I'm not too sure myself. But I do know one thing. I'm pretty sure in the 16 years that they've been with Aurora, they've certainly learnt a thing or two. Well, I must again apologise for last night. I'd had quite a difficult day. And I was very, very tired when I did my video. But again, these videos that I make every single day, they're all learning curves. That's why I love your comments and I love your suggestions. But please make the comments quite nice. After all, I'm only a beginner and I'm learning each day. Well, I better get back to my cross stitch. Perhaps you'll see it again. Maybe you'll even be able to identify who it is. But until then, I'll see you later. Oh, actually, if you try and guess who it is, let me give you a closer look. Maybe in the next video you'll see it a little more detailed. But until then, I'm going to wish you a good night and a pleasant little dreams. I'll see you next time. Good night.